Hey there, guys. Happy New Year and welcome to my first little Shedlet of 2021. Now, look, every year is a new year, right? A surprise. But this one, for goodness sake, I mean, who the hell knows what it's all about, what to make of it, what to feel about it? Certainly, a lot of people I know are struggling at the moment, feeling pretty gloomy about the state of things. This definitely wasn't the Christmas or New Year that we hoped for. So, yeah, there's loneliness, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's despair, there's quite a lot of just pissed offness, really, isn't there? But the good news is there's also hope. Hope not just about the vaccine, goodness knows, that's good news. But no, there's also hope because the human spirit always has the possibility of hope. It is, as Lizelle Muller puts it, the singular gift we cannot destroy in ourselves, the argument that refutes death, the genius that invents the future. You see, in the end, despair and hope are choices. They're not kind of fixed entities, they're not things out there, either of which has some inevitability about it. They're choices. And speaking personally, yeah, I have to say that sometimes I fall down on the wrong side of that choice. But that's never the end, right? It's never the end. We can always choose again. We can just get up and choose again. In The Return of the King, that final volume of Lord of the Rings, there's a part of the story where Frodo and Sam, the two hobbits, are struggling their way deep into Mordor, the seat of the Dark Lord Sauron, and trying to defeat him before he finally conquers Middle-earth. And near the final chapter of the book, Frodo Baggins and his faithful servant Sam are still on their long and bitter journey. Their mission has taken them, from one peril to another, through countless brushes with death and goodness knows what else. And finally, it's led them into the heart of the barren, evil land of Mordor. A strange cloud has covered the sky for days, a shadow created as a weapon by the enemy. Exhausted beyond words, the two hobbits have collapsed for the night under a curtain of brambles. Frodo has fallen fast asleep, and this is what we read. Sam struggled with his own weariness, and then at last, to keep himself awake, he crawled from the hiding place and looked out. The land seemed full of creaking and cracking and sly noises. Far above, the night sky was dim and pale. There, peeping among the clouds high above the mountains, Sam saw a white star twinkle for a while. The beauty of it smote his heart as he looked up out of the forsaken land, and hope returned to him. For like a shaft clear and cold, the thought pierced him that in the end the evil shadow was only a small and passing thing. There was light and high beauty for ever beyond its reach. Now, for a moment, his own fate and even his master's ceased to trouble him. He crawled back into the brambles and laid himself by Frodo's side, and putting away all fear, he cast himself into a deep, untroubled sleep. The beauty of the star penetrated Sam's heart, bringing hope, for it reminded him that, in the end, the cloud would have to be a passing thing, that higher and brighter and beyond the reach of any evil shadow, there was light and high beauty. It's a great thing, isn't it, when you catch a glimpse of a shining star in the midst of darkness. Several years ago this week, I took the funeral of Henry Rogers. Now, none of you know him, of course not. No one much seemed to know him at the time, actually. The funeral was arranged by social services, and I was told that there would be no one present. I always hate it when I'm asked to take one of those funerals, and yet on the other hand, I find it a great privilege, because to be the last person there to bid this soul farewell, that's quite an honour, really. the awesomeness of a human being, even when it's all alone, is something that I find quite overwhelming. All I knew about Henry was that he was 88 and that his life had begun in a Barnardo's home. But just before the service, 4 women turned up. One was his social worker, 2 were carers from the home where he spent his last days, and 1 was the daughter of a family who had befriended him many, many years before. She hadn't seen him actually for 40 years, but somehow she heard about the funeral and bless her heart, she decided to come. Don't you love it when something like that happens? So after an opening prayer, I just decided this is daft. I abandoned the whole usual order of service and I left the lectern and just went and sat with the women. Okay, I said, let's pool everything that we know about Henry. Well, after a few minutes of stories and memories, this anonymous figure was transformed into a real human being. There we were, 4 women and a priest, sitting in front of Henry's coffin, laughing and crying, and you know what? Feeling so warmed by the whole experience. There were no relatives of Henry present, but there were friends, and there was hope. And peeping among the dark clouds, a white star shone. Christ was born afresh in Golders Green Crematorium. The social worker said she didn't celebrate Christmas, but there we were, celebrating it all the same in our own strange, peculiar and wonderful way. Jennifer Lynn Woodruff has encapsulated the tension of darkness and light, loss and hope in a wonderful little poem called Winter Sunset. It goes like this. The sky is blue and rose tonight. The clouds paint trails across the sun. The dark comes swiftly down the road, and all the day is left undone. These are the colours that I claimed. The blue for darkness, pain and loss. The rose for joys as yet unborn, and blossoming at countless cost. These are the choices that we make here in the shadow of the night, to know our ambiguity and yet to live into the light. Friends, Shedsters, our world does feel pretty dark right now. Your personal world may feel dark, but this is the Christmastide message, Don't live into the darkness, live into light. Live into a light that no darkness can comprehend, the light and high beauty that is far beyond the reach of any COVID shadow. So 2021, we welcome you. We welcome you with hope. Go well, guys. Look after yourself, look after others. Stay human, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.